This is The Balanced Dilemma. We tackle the often uniquely, but not always, female dilemma, managing life, work, family, and self. I'm Maura Carlin.
And I'm Christy Derrico. At The Balanced Dilemma, we speak with women and men to hear their balanced stories. Our guests are entrepreneurs, reinventors, creators, executives, parents, and partners, telling us what we really want to know. How the heck did they manage that? And can you have it all and all at the same time?
When you think of someone hunched over a sewing machine stitching clothing, you probably don't picture a fashion designer who just showed at Paris Fashion Week. You also might not imagine a mother of three, including twins, running multiple businesses while redefining what slow fashion can look like. And we're going to talk about what that is. But that's exactly who Andrea Moore Beaulieu is. And her story is going to change how you think about what you wear, who makes it, and why it matters. You'll also be inspired by how she navigates work and family while staying and making others chic in her Westchester County boutique. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. That was quite an introduction.
She's the best at that. Some of our guests have even asked for it. It's always so good. So what struck me about you, your story, your store, is, how did you get from here, from there? And what is your origin story about your needle and thread life?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. I have been sewing my whole life. I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. Started sewing when I was about 6 years old and went to school for fashion design and kind of hopped around the country working for brands and in a variety of capacities. And was just like a little sponge, retaining all this knowledge, hoping to open my own store. And thankfully, I was able to do that.
So here's a question I have.
Yeah.
What was your first sewing machine?
It was a Singer. So my mom had a Singer, and we had like a little sewing station always set up in the house. She was more of a recreational sewer. She would make me and my sisters like matching dresses for Easter with like bonnets and like little tiny purses and just so cute.
And did it have a shuttle bobbin, or was it the more modern bobbin? We're going to double down.
Yes,
this is the last one on this.
Modern bobbin.
I had a shuttle bobbin.
Okay.
It was the oldest Singer that he ever saw. But isn't that interesting?
Gosh,
But
wow.
Singer, old
Yes.
machine,
Oh,
look at what it
definitely.
does. Inspiration.
Absolutely.
And at what age did you start making your own clothing?
I mean, it was very, very young. So I remember like making headbands with my sister. I grew up in New Hampshire in the middle of the woods and being very entrepreneurial. We set up a table at the end of our driveway, thinking that maybe people driving by would want to buy a headband that we made. And I think I was 7 and she was 5.
And did they?
I think that our neighbors obliged, very sweetly. But just that creativity started so early. My mom says that when I was like 3 years old, I would look people up and down, checking out what they're wearing. And she just always thought it was so funny. I always cared about what I was wearing. And we would go away on vacation and I would be like, Mom, I don't want to wear these corduroys and this turtleneck. This is not cool.
Right.
Really?
Very
So
young. I mean, like first grade, second grade. Yeah.
And did you sew from patterns that you made, or?
Yes. So my mom was like, we have a pattern. This is what we follow. And I remember I was making like this little floral tank top with some leggings. And I was like, I don't want the leggings to be tight. And she said, but this is what the pattern looks like. And I was like, but can't we just make it different? She was like, what do you mean?
Right.
So it's, starting
And did you
again
just
very
figure
young.
out what to do?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
interesting.
Well, that's a real talent. That's hard to adapt
thank
a
you.
pattern and making clothes look good on the actual person, which is why we're talking to you.
But you also worked in retail in other retail establishments.
Yes.
Tell us what that was like, and more importantly, what that taught you about where you wanted to go with fashion.
Yes. So from a very young age, I wanted to be able to sew things and then put them on a rack and have people, be able to peruse and buy. And my mom was such a hustler. My dad left when I was young and she had 4 young children, and she's an artist. She's a creative. And I feel like just that entrepreneurial way of being just was like in me from the beginning. So seeing her kind of make it work, and what else can we do? What else do we have in our arsenal of creativity to be able to find a way to make money? So knowing that if I wanted to have a retail store, that I needed to know how to do that before jumping in and just trying to figure it out. Because I wanted it to be successful.
And you had jobs when you were a teenager?
So when I was a teenager, I actually didn't work in retail. And it wasn't until after college, really. When I was in college, I worked for a master tailor. That was my job. And I worked at a fabric store as well.
That's cool.
Very cool. I mean, I still use all of those techniques that he taught me.
With
Absolutely.
the master tailors.
Absolutely.
They're often in this area, they tend to be around 90 years old.
Oh my
and
gosh, yes.
all the ones from Bergdorf and Saks, and they just know, looking at you, where to put the
Yes.
darts and the shoulder pads. They're amazing.
Absolutely.
And what a great
Yes.
way to learn.
Yes.
But you also had to learn to sell and
Yes.
how to tell someone that it didn't look right on them or that it did.
Yeah. And I feel like that working in retail, trying to find the balance of like, okay, we need to make our goal. We need to hit these numbers. But I also found so much value in building relationships with these people so that they would want to come back. So it wasn't just about like making the sale that day. It was about gaining their trust and knowing that what I'm saying to them is real, and I'm not just trying to make my numbers.
You must have loved What Not to Wear and things like that, right? I mean, really, when that started coming on to television, I think everyone internationally said, never thought about it that way. You just went and bought something, but wait a minute, if you're shaped like this, you should wear that. Who knew?
Right. Yeah.
Was there something about seeing how people connected with the garments they were trying on and maybe buying in those retail environments that sort of stuck with you?
Absolutely. I feel like so much of that is about telling the story. So being able to learn a little bit about them and their lifestyle, asking important questions that you really care about, and then, translating that into how they can buy something that will then last a long time.
Do you find that you're changing someone's style, or, like Christy's wearing a beige sweater, and would you tell her, you really should be in bright colors and you're in shorter skirts? Do you do that?
I try to introduce things, and I am in full understanding that not everybody is comfortable with their body as is. So trying to build that body confidence is also a major thing. I feel like everybody has their thing. Minimum one thing. Most
So
of the
true.
time, several things
I mean,
that they're
I'm-
trying to mask, they're trying to cover, they're, just don't feel comfortable in.
I mean, shopping can involve a therapy session.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
But that's a really good point, because I'm sure each one of us has looked at, it's typically women, but it can be men too. And you think, if she just did this, like she can't even see it in herself. I thought it today looking at this woman. She should style her hair a different way, and it would make her feel so much better. And but these are the things
Or that person should not be wearing that.
Well, there's always that. But I tend to try to, because I feel that I've learned so much about, just like you're saying, body type, image, testing something new. And they're usually right, the people I get advice from. And it changes you. It makes you feel better about yourself than you did before when you're wearing the right garments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the power of clothing is, really strong.
Regardless of the extra 10 pounds you wish you didn't have. It doesn't come down to that. If you wear the right article of clothing, you
absolutely.
look so much better. You feel so much better.
Yes, I find that so many people are like reaching toward a goal and they're like, oh, well, I will wear that when I look like this, instead of wearing what you feel comfortable in that day, and really trying to like highlight the things that you feel great about. It's a tricky thing.
It really is.
Yeah.
But you've started basically 3 businesses.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about them and how they work together? Because they do.
Yes, absolutely. So I started, so I left retail. At the height of my retail career, I was opening stores for brands, hopping around the country, creating infrastructure for them, hiring their teams, training their teams, handling operations, handling visual management, merchandising, all of those kinds of things. And I just was like, I am so tired and not finding enough time to do the thing that I know that I want to be doing. So I really literally made a leap. Moved from, I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and moved from the beach to downtown to a teeny little apartment. So just, making these sacrifices. I was single. I had a dog and a cat. And I just was really thinking, okay, like I'm going to try this. So I made a little capsule collection. I did a photo shoot. I partnered with some people, and it got some traction. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is really going to be working.
What do you mean partnered with some people?
So I had some friends that work in the music industry, and I worked with some stylists. Not necessarily dressing anybody with actually, I did see one of them on TV the other day, and I would say her name, but I can't remember what it is. But I think she works for the NFL now, and she is a beautiful face on screen talking about, the integration of community and music and culture and sport. But yeah, just getting the clothes on people, to kind of figuring it out if this is even something that, if my vision is something that people connect with.
Even want. And what year was this?
This was in 2014.
So I'm asking because the tools that you use to get that message out, today it would be Instagram.
Right.
For fashion, I would imagine. Yeah. And what were you using then to get that message out?
It was the very beginning of Instagram, social media being used in that way. I've kept all of my Instagram posts from the very beginning. I still have the same Instagram. So scrolling all the way back to the beginning, we see those early posts of my dear friend from college wearing my clothes, and a DJ that I partnered with wearing my clothes.
It sounds like a lot of it was actually personal connection.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And was it made to order clothing? You worked with them to develop what they wanted, or you made stuff and they said, "Ooh, I want that"?
More of the latter. So I created a solid capsule and just was shopping it around. So I did a couple of the markets, like Melrose Marketplace, and again, just trying to get a feel for.
So you would put out a table with your items, people would buy it,
Yes.
then you would develop a client base,
Yes.
and that's how you started. And Melrose is out in California, and then you came over to New York.
No, so actually I went to Oregon, which is what? So
Fashion, Oregon?
I know.
Tell us.
You would never think. So my now husband, we connected when I lived in Los Angeles, reconnected. We met when I lived in New York. He was living in Boston. We both worked for Converse at the time. He reached out to me and said, "I see that you started a brand. I don't know if you remember me." And I'm like, "Of course I do. You're so handsome." And he's
going to replay that, over and over.
This is my story about us reconnecting in life. So he said, "Well, I just moved to Oregon. I work for Nike now, and I have so much spare time. And I don't know if you know this, but I love doing graphic t-shirts." He's like, "And I see that you don't really have any graphic elements to any of your stuff." And I'm like, "Of course I don't, because I sew things. I don't do, t-shirts and that's not really what I do. But I would love to. I feel like that makes the brand a little bit more accessible. It changes the price point of things and makes that also feel more accessible." So he's like, "Well, I would love to do that." And I said, "I have no budget. It is literally me sewing in my tiny little apartment in downtown LA." And he said, "I'll just do it for free." And I was like, oh, "He likes me."
That sounds like a big pickup to me. That's great.
Right?
And how did that go? Was that something that you incorporated?
It was fantastic.
Right.
He is a great person to partner with. He's so creative, but a great listener. So the t-shirts did really well. They sold phenomenally.
And it all it was gender neutral,
yes,
too. So
absolutely.
You were bringing men into your fold.
Yeah. So, over the course of several months, he was like, "Okay, we're traveling back and forth to see each other. What are we doing here? You're in LA. Do you need to be in LA? Do you want to come to Oregon?" And I was like, "Ugh, Oregon fashion? Are you kidding?"
It's actually beautiful there.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'd gone to visit a couple times, and then I thought maybe, I'll go in the summer. I'll spend a couple months and we'll just see how it goes. And that's exactly what I did. And then I didn't leave. I came back to LA to pack up my little apartment. And I found very quickly that the fashion scene there is tremendous. So the barrier for entry for designers to open retail spaces is so low. It is so accessible. Rent is, at least at that time, was inexpensive. And you could have a storefront in,
And that was sort
a
of where
moment.
you began, had your custom
Yes.
goods.
Yes.
Now, if I read correctly, you also were very careful in the kinds of materials that you used.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm vegan. I care a ton about sustainability, especially in this business. So all of my fabrications are vegan. And I work a lot with deadstock fabrics. So things
Just
that would
tell people
normally,
what deadstock is.
Yes.
normally end up in a landfill, just like leftover bits from factories. So now, a lot of the things that are in my store are made from deadstock fabric. So it's a lot of like one-of-one pieces that, creates a little bit of exclusivity and feels pretty special and allows people to feel like they're, wearing something really cool.
You also have sort of conceptual collection-based pieces. What does that mean, and what are they?
Yes. So 3 times a year, I do full collections. And there's a whole theme and a story for the collection, and usually a fabric pattern, sometimes something custom that my husband has made. And that will kind of carry through the collection in a variety of textures or fabrications. And then, the rest of the year, I just kind of make and sew daily.
Where are these shows?
Yeah.
Tell
So
me
I've
about that.
done. So I do have 3 children, and I left all. Let's see, where do we start
So we
this
took
journey?
a huge leap.
We
Take us on the
did.
journey.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. So living in Oregon, I had 2 stores. My business grew tremendously. I had a wonderful client base. I had 5 people sewing for me. We were just like making and creating every day, and it was so fulfilling. And I was like, I want to have a family though. So I was like, can we do both? And then my husband got a job opportunity in New York, and all of our family is on the East Coast. We don't have any family on the West Coast. And this was in 2018. And we'd been trying to have a family. We ended up having to do IVF for all 3 of our children. But once I was pregnant with the twins, we decided, my husband was like, do we do this? Do we move to New York City and like have twins? Like, do we have a family? This just sounds so insane. And you're leaving a successful business. Like, what is that going to look like? And I said, I will just open another store. I can do what I'm doing anywhere. Where I got that confidence, I have no idea, but I still carry it to this day.
And you have, because you have opened a store
Yes.
in Westchester County in Larchmont, New
Absolutely.
York. So
Yeah.
tell us about the store and what people will see there, because I just want to mention that you walk in the store and there you are sitting there in front of a sewing machine stitching away.
Absolutely.
So tell us what people will see and what they will find in your store.
Yeah. So my philosophy for retail in the way that I do things is giving people visibility to the entire production of a garment. So seeing fabrics, seeing things being cut out. I have patterns hanging. It's not a hidden process. The transparency in this industry is nearly non-existent. So that to me alone is like a special thing for people to be able to connect with the things that they potentially could buy and seeing them be made.
Do you find that gives people a different feeling towards their clothing when they see how it's made?
I hope so. I mean, that is the goal, that they, treasure things a little bit more because they connect it with a human being and they have like talked to this person and built rapport, and that they, are buying something that is well made and that they just treasure it.
So what you're doing in the store, sewing, patterns hanging, is that a template for something that you might reproduce in multiple quantities, or what is your practice with regard to supply?
Yes. So I try not to really have a lot of backstock and make a ton of stuff. So as I mentioned, I do 3 collections, and that is usually where I'll do full size runs of things and really, kind of make the most of each individual item. And then as things sell through, once it's gone, it's gone.
And where are they manufactured? In that shop?
Right in the store. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I make everything in the space.
Wow.
Yep. And that was the way that I did it in Oregon as well.
And your actual fashion shows, where
Oh,
are
right.
they?
Yeah. So I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years, working in my basement, my home workshop. And then a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years in March, I literally had a dream. My daughter, my youngest, is not a good sleeper, and I was just exhausted all the time. And I just said, like, I don't think I'll ever be able to have another store again. And it was heartbreaking. The idea of not being able to, I don't know, do what I feel like I was born to do outside of being a mom.
So what pushed you to open the store?
I had a dream. I literally had a dream, like a physical dream while I was sleeping. And in this dream, I was doing like operations for a friend that is just like in my dream world in my head. And we were opening a big, beautiful retail space and kind of dedicating different areas to different people. And as we're going along, things are filling up. And there was one big space left. And I said, well, who is this for? We don't have anybody to go in this space. And he said, it's for you. And I was like, what? And it still gets me emotional talking about it. It was a dream. Anyway.
So dream to reality
Yes,
2 years ago.
absolutely.
You signed a lease.
So I
Tell
did.
me how it happened.
I mean, it was a matter of weeks. I woke up from the dream. And furthermore, in the dream, my friend said, I said, what are we going to call this place? And my friend said, The Makers. So like the name of my now store came to me in my dream brain. So I woke up and I told my husband, I think it's time. I think that, and he's like, how are we going to do this? How, like, we have a very scheduled life, and how would we make that work?
Well, it was
and
also...
we're going to actually come back to how you make it work, because it's really interesting and inspiring for listeners.
Thank you so much.
But I just want to finish up with the making.
Yes.
Which being a maker is sort of a term of art now, being used in lots of different industries. But for yours, what's the difference between a maker and a tailor?
Yeah, I mean, a tailor, I feel, kind of takes something that's already established and really just fits it to each individual body.
Which you also do.
Yes, I do. So I tell people I do all things sewing. So people bring me all kinds of wild projects. But I don't know. It maybe is just a matter of semantics.
Okay.
Because there are some tailors that are also designers, and they create their own designs and then they make it individually for a person. Yeah.
So what are some of the best and funniest things people have asked you to make? Because I'm sure you must have some stories.
Absolutely. I always feel honored when people ask me to make something that's for a special occasion in their life. So I've had the honor of making all kinds of things like wedding attire, whether it's something made out of something else to be something for a special occasion. For example, I had a mother-daughter combo come in, and the mom was hoping that the daughter would use her wedding dress to, in some way, in her daughter's wedding. So we made a party dress for her for the dinner night before event, out of her mom's wedding dress. So using all the little buttons and the fabric, and it was so beautiful and really special.
Very pretty and pink.
So cute. Yeah. Yes,
Right.
Absolutely. And I just love that idea too of, sustainability and making
Generation to
something.
generation
Yes.
also.
Yes.
And it's
yes.
really slow fashion versus
Absolutely.
fast fashion.
So when you had this epiphany of a dream and you knew you wanted to do something, did you immediately go out and find a store? Did you, reinvigorate your creative brand? What was the first step you took after that thought?
So my husband and I had a conversation about, okay, if this is what you want to do, he's so supportive and just like always like, okay, this is what we're doing. How are we going to do this? Let's make it happen.
He figures it out.
Yes.
Helps you figure it out.
Yes. I said, it needs to be close to home.
Right.
I have a friend that has a space in the city, and he said there's other spaces around me. Whenever you're ready. He's always said that. But I didn't like the idea of being too far from my children, and I like the idea of them kind of growing up knowing that their mom is a designer and the sound of the sewing machine being something that is reminiscent for them when they get older. I just wanted it to be something that they could feel like they were a part of as well. So, I just kind of was looking around. I looked at Mamaroneck Avenue. I looked at a couple places here. I was getting my lashes done in Larchmont, and I was like, I have a few minutes, so I'm just going to walk around really quick. And I just peeked in the window of my now store, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is the one. It's
So
the
what
perfect
was it? How
size,
did you
perfect
know?
shape. I don't know. I felt it in my heart. I don't know.
And so you'd worked in retail, you'd run your own shop, so you
Yeah.
had an idea about a budget and what you needed to do that,
So
correct?
the strange part, maybe not strange, smart. I kept everything from my other retail store when we moved. So I had everything that I needed to set up a space. And I knew that I wanted it to be the same kind of like sewing directly to the rack. The space was ready to go. It didn't need any kind of updates, any kind of anything. I just painted the walls and that was it. So I have a photo of my family after I signed the lease. There's nothing in the space, but we went and got bagels and I brought the kids and we're sitting on the floor. And I was just telling them this is Mama's new store. I'm going to open a store. And they were all very little at the time, and they just were like, what does that mean?
That's sort of a theme of yours, that you're integrating family with your business. And I really want you to talk about that because it's a model for motherhood and career.
Yes, absolutely. So, from birth for my twins, I lived in the city, but one of the rooms in our apartment was a workshop for me. And I still took clients. I still made custom stuff, but it wasn't so much about pushing my brand as it was just being able to maintain the sanity of early motherhood and trying to be creative.
And were you
get that
posting on
energy.
social media, all of
Sure,
that? So
yeah.
that was going while you were, low lift.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes, absolutely.
But you considered this a pause from real retail.
Absolutely.
This was, yeah.
Absolutely.
So was
Yeah.
there an age where you said, when you decided, all right, they're at an age where we can manage this, or it was just, I'm ready?
It was more about me being ready. Yeah. And I do have to say that after having my third, we were talking about having a third, we moved out of the city, moved to Westchester. And again, my husband, he's an only child. I have many, many siblings. He was like, 3? Are you kidding? 2 is good. We're good right now. The kids are sleeping. We have a schedule. Everything is good. What are we doing? And I just said, I feel like she needs to be in the world. Again, we did IVF. We only had one girl embryo. I said, I just feel like she needs to be in the world. I'll regret it for the rest of my life if we don't try this. So we moved out of the city and I had to have a workshop space but from birth, the twins and Zoe as well, they have seen me sewing and I'm working while they're sleeping. I'm working while they're, kind of playing behind me. They see me doing what I'm doing. So opening a store, even though they didn't know what that meant, they were there for the entire beginning process. So before anything's in the space and then we're setting up, I have videos of my daughter running from the back of the store to the front of the store. And, there's a few racks and I'm getting things set up and I'm unpacking boxes and, putting the thread up on the wall and they're just there.
They're part of it.
Yes.
And has
yes.
it gone to plan, this dream new reiteration of your fashion world? I mean,
You're having to juggle. So
Yeah.
I know your store hours match your kids' school schedule. So
Yes.
go into that because that's unusual and you're honest about it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we want to hear.
Yeah,
How do you make it
definitely.
happen?
Yeah, so I have a sign up in my window, and every week my hours are different. So it just says, "Hi, friends. This week my hours are," and it is different every week. I really want to be as present as possible for my children. So my twins now are in first grade, and them being in kindergarten last year, that really made all the difference for me being able to find the balance and be present for everybody, my husband included. So, I just really am vocal about how much I care about my children seeing me doing what I love to do, but also being able to be present for them.
But I imagine the fact that your business is creative, people can IM you or DM you, and that also makes it easier so you can get away from strict hours of operation. I would imagine. Is that the case? Like if a client wants to put in an order, they could just send you a
But there are
message.
deadlines. The wedding is coming up.
That's
Absolutely,
true. So there's
sure.
deadlines and hours of
Yes.
operation. How has that worked for you?
So it's only been within the last few months that I have had to say, like, I am here right now, but I am not here for you right now. So I am in the store, I am working, I am sewing, but the signage is up and I'm closed, even though the lights are on, because I need to get through these projects within my hours that I'm available.
She closes her door.
I like it.
Yes. And a lot of people, I laugh because so many people are banging on my door still. So many people are, trying to walk in. So then I usually let them in anyway. And I feel so grateful, that people are around, that people are trying to knock on my door, that people are trying to get in. It is, I didn't open the store doing any kind of market research, which is like not a smart thing to do, but I am so grateful for the community that I'm surrounded by and the support that they give me every single day.
So you're doing your own market research. It's experimentation for the time being.
Live. Yes, it is live.
Wow. And I've asked this a couple times and we keep getting away from it.
Oh,
Tell me
yes.
about the fashion shows. I want to hear about
yes,
this.
absolutely.
Yes, sure.
I've never been to a fashion show.
Oh my
Maura has. I
gosh,
haven't.
yeah. So when I first opened the store, I said I want to do a show. So I did a little like local show at a wonderful place called Locals, just right around the corner. And they have an awesome venue. So that was just like a fun little neighborhood thing. But shortly after opening, I did New York Fashion Week. I did my own show. And it was at Grand Central, and we just like really winged it. So it was a collaboration.
You had to rent the space, and
We
you had
did
to,
not rent.
Oh, you just had people walking right through.
Literally winged it. So it was a collaboration with a dear friend. He has a store in Grand Central, so we did the model call in Grand Central. But it was 35 models. And we couldn't even do a practice run. So we had to like tell everybody what we were going to do. But we had a film crew. We got awesome footage. It was like a once in a lifetime thing because
So Matthew Blasey of
happened.
Chanel was kind of copying you.
I didn't say that, but
Point of reference, Chanel did a show in
Yes.
subway station recently.
Yes.
Oh, right.
In New York
I saw
City.
that. Yes.
So that's really funny because
do
in
know
addition to
something
that,
about fashion.
I did a fashion film in the spring for my spring summer collection, and it kind of did the circuit of fashion films over the course of this fall, and a portion of it was shot in the subway. At Grand Central. So like down in the tunnel in the subway with people coming out of the train. And when I saw that show, I sent it to my friend who was at the shoot. And I just said, this is really interesting.
Isn't it?
New
We could
York
go
is
on
so
for hours
inspiring.
about that show.
Absolutely. Oh, it's
But
amazing.
then you took it on the road to Paris,
I
which
did,
I'm dying to hear about that.
Oh, absolutely. So I did 2 New York Fashion Week shows, and then somebody reached out to me via Instagram, and they said, we're putting together a pop-up in Paris and would love for you to be involved. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is like a major dream. But how do I do that? I have 3 kids. Like, I can't leave my children.
Shh, I'm on the phone. Mommy's got a big, important call.
And it sounds like your kids are ready to see Paris.
Oh my gosh. I wish that they could have come with me. That would have been amazing.
I love the mute button on the phone because then I can turn and say, I am on an important call. Stop speaking. And then I go, oh,
Come on.
tell me.
You
tell me how I
pretend
can
to be
help
on the phone.
Maybe sometimes. So this has really happened for you, this dream, this new venture as a mom and this career. And what do you see happening in the future? Are you just rolling with it to see what opportunities will come?
Some of it is like heavy planning, and some of it is really I just got to roll with it. I received a ton of press over the last year and a half. So I was in Vogue 4 times. I was in Vanity Fair. It was really cool to like be in Paris, be able to go to a newsstand, pick up Vogue, and
that's a
flip
new
to
level.
my page. It's huge. I feel like imposter syndrome is so real right now.
Really?
Oh my
Despite all this, you
goodness.
feel that?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just a mom, like doing what I love to do every day.
But also there's the issue when you blow up like that, you can have a stock issue. Like what are the expectations what are you expected to supply in terms of producing this? I mean, you said you had 35 models. That means 35 outfits that you have to do from toes to head.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot.
It is.
So how is that
Yeah.
working for you?
I mean, I will work around the clock if I have to. Somehow, like in my body becomes this energy surrounding deadlines and amazing events. And I can kind of say that comes from being a parent. Not that I didn't have it before, but now having 3 children and just needing to kind of be ready at all times, especially having a child that doesn't sleep, like literally around the clock being available and having to be like of right mind. So, another portion of that is having a great support system. So my husband is amazing. And after we had my daughter, we got a nanny, which my mom had 5 children and she was a stay-at-home mom, but she also did a million other things. And she's an incredible artist. And
With no nanny.
yes, with no nanny. And I really was like, how did she do that?
She was an octopus. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
With eyes in the back of her head. And,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
I wonder the same thing often.
Yeah.
And no takeout, right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's
No,
rewind the
I mean,
clock. There was no such thing as takeout back
Every
then.
meal was homemade. She had dessert, like fresh made dessert every night. I'm like, how did you?
My octopus mother. So do you envision that you may at some point look to manufacture some of these pieces that you do?
On a broader scale.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is a scaling issue. That's really
Yep.
the word we're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you envision that? Or do you see yourself as just being this world that you have it right now, which is a beautiful storefront and creative space for you?
I really go back and forth about that because I think I could just be happy just sewing every day in this cute little store with my family right down the street. Or I could literally be in Paris and doing Paris Fashion Week and doing these pop-ups around the world now. And I think that it's important for my children to see me doing what makes me happy. And it's always going to be about finding that balance. The balance dilemma.
Right. Well,
Finding that balance in life.
I know Maura wants to ask you this question, but I do have one other thought. We've talked about seasonality. And with everyone sitting in this room, we've done different things at different points in our lives with different pressure points.
Right.
And so it might be that you make a decision now that could be different 2 years from now. But
Absolutely.
you definitely have created something that the world has caught on to and likes. So there's something to that. So I wish you luck with that. It's
thank
fantastic.
you so much. Thank
Go
you.
Mom.
I'm so grateful.
Go ahead, Maura.
so we ask all our guests,
Yeah.
can you have it all and all at the same time? But I want to twist it a little, whether you see this as balance or integration with respect to your family or something different.
Yeah. I think that it's both. I really love the idea of my children being present. My husband, as I mentioned, works for Nike and he is an artist. So they see him drawing all the time. They see me sewing all the time. It kind of tells them a story of whatever I'm feeling inside, I can do that. All of my children really care about the way that they look every day in terms of their outfits, which I love so much. My husband and I just had a conversation this morning because one of my sons has like a crazy style right now and he's tucking everything in, coat included, into his pants and then wants a belt around his jacket. And he's 6. I mean, he's going to 1st grade. So like my husband's like, how do we like figure out what to correct? And I'm like, it's not a correction. Like this is what he feels cool in. And I want him to feel cool every day. Like, I think that's important for him to have that confidence. My husband's like, well, what about when kids are saying like, what are you doing? And what are you? And I'm like, then it'll be his decision. Like, I don't want to wear this anymore because I don't like how it feels when other people are saying that. I don't want to be the person to make him feel that way. I want to empower him to know that whatever he feels good in is good.
The balance between conforming and being the leader.
Yes.
So.
Can you tell everyone where they can find you in real life?
Yes.
And online.
Absolutely. So my store is called The Makers New York. It's at 132 Larchmont Avenue. You can find me on Instagram. My brand is more_NYC. You can also find me online at wearmore.com.
And more Moore,
Yes,
correct?
thank you for that. Yeah.
Good. I got that one right.
You got that right. And I just want to sneak in one more question about fashion.
Yes, please.
What should we expect to see for 2026?
Oh, goodness. I feel like fashion is in such a unique place right now. There is such a highlighting of small brands. So being able to support young and small and new brands is something that I feel like even the big box stores, they're like, how do we get in touch with these small brands to be able to bring them in so that we become more desirable? So I think shopping small is going to continue to be a trend. In terms of fashion styling and
shop
detailing.
local.
Yes, and shop local, of course. I think in terms of fashion and styling, there's been a trend of oversize and everything big. And I think that we're going to see kind of a mashup there of a mix of tailoring and oversize. So
Totally
a tailored
agree.
jacket, a tailored, blouse with, something that's really oversized on the bottom, skirt or pants or
All right,
whatever.
let's
Now
go
we know what to
shopping.
look for. Andrea, it's been such a pleasure talking to you.
Such
Thank
a
you so
joy.
much.
Thank you for
Love
having
it.
me.
Thank you. Great meeting you.
So fun. Thank you.
Please follow us, listen to us, and rate us on our platforms, Spotify, Apple, and our website, thebalanceddilemma.com, where you can also subscribe to our newsletter and email us your suggestions. There's no cost, but it means a lot to us.